Alright, so everybody's probably going to be wondering what the fuck got me hooked into metal. Um, well, like I said in my intro, the first, band I ever heard was Guns N' Roses when I was like 6. And that was thanks to my dad. And he had a shit ton of CDs sitting on the shelf in the living room right by the kitchen. And there was a stereo there, and it was like, like three shelves. And like on the fucking highest one was, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Metallica, Slayer, Anthrax, um, Black Sabbath, Ozzy, all sorts of stuff up there. So every day after school, I'd come home. It was like second grade, first grade, third grade, all that shit. I'd go I'd take a chair and I'd stand on the chair and I'd get up on the table and I'd reach up onto the top. I'd snag like five of them and I'd be just turn the stereo up all the way and listen to it like all day before my parents came home. And because I think my mom wanted him to put all that stuff up there so I wouldn't get into it, and now look what happened to me. So she kind of failed on that one. But yeah. So the first thing that I remember hearing was the Creeping Death EP from Metallica, which is incredibly hard to find nowadays, especially because it was the re-released one from I believe 1990 that was released in Europe. So it came with the Jump on the Fire EP because I looked on Metal Archives and there's only three songs on it, which is not the one that my dad had. And for a long time I thought it was a bootleg, but I just realized that there was a re-release in 1990 that was came out in Europe and then one also in Australia, and it was an import and it came with the Jump on the Fire EP with it on the disc, and that's the one that my dad had because I remember blasting Jump on the Fire, Creeping Death, and all that stuff, and I loved that shit. That was the one song that made me listen to more and more metal. Like I would go every day and listen to that, and I'd go outside in my driveway and skate because I was into skateboarding and shit. And I'd sit there and listen to Metallica and Slayer and Judas Priest and stuff in the driveway while skating. And one day I took that Creeping Death CD with me because a couple friends and I wanted to go to a church and go skate because they had a huge parking lot. There was nobody there, and I guess they didn't really care if we skated there. So, we'd go and jump the stairs and, do all that stuff. And I brought that CD one day, and we had it blasting, and, everybody loved it. So they always came to me and were like, just bring a bunch of your dad's CDs. I'm like, okay. So we'd always bring a bunch of CDs and go skate. So that was pretty cool. So that's what got me, really, really hooked. And as soon as I heard my dad's Divine Intervention album from Slayer, I immediately wanted to get into heavier and faster stuff, which got me into new metal, and then I got into death metal, and then I got into grindcore and black metal and everything else that I'm into now. And you're like 9 years old listening to Slayer. I mean, it's pretty fucking awesome. Um, so that was as soon as I heard Ditto Head, I was like, that's my shit right there. You know, just I loved the fast and the heavy and aggressive stuff. That was definitely me. I used to sit and play PlayStation while listening to Slayer. It was pretty awesome. Play like Crash Bandicoot and shit while listening to Ditto Head and uh, all the other songs on that album. And I can't Sex, Murder, Art, shit like that. So that's what got me into metal and got me like completely hooked. Was definitely Metallica and Slayer for sure. And the Metalworks album from Judas Priest also was a big one that I was listening to consistently for probably 5 6 years. Um, then I finally burned a copy of it for myself, and it's sitting in my car, and I listen to it all the time. So yeah, that's what got me hooked into metal. So as always, much love and keep it metal.